and welcome to another episode of the Roll Wise Show, the place where we talk about games and things related to games. Today, we're going to be exploring a topic related to player advice. As recently we had done, an episode, and one of our listeners had commented that since there's kind of not a ton of books or things that are written from a player advice perspective, that maybe we should check out Your Best Game Ever by Monte Cook, as well as a few other contributors in there. So we picked up the book. We thought we'd read through it, and we're going to focus today on part 2, the being a great player portion of the book. Now, the book itself does have 5 parts. So if you are interested, this seems like kind of a I guess from a perspective of writing, it looks as though this is one of those things where they've tried to encapsulate all components of the role playing hobby, from what are role playing games, all the way to getting the most out of your games, and providing you with some recipes at the end, so that you can have game night snacks that are kind of thematically appropriate to the type of game that you're playing. And we all know that when we're sitting around the table, having snacks is awesome. So, to each their own, though. So I think we can go ahead. And
definitely written pre-COVID for the thought that everybody's around tables still.
Well, I mean, those lucky people that sit around tables. How about that? Okay. I mean, I wish we could sit around tables more often, honestly, if I'm being honest. So, okay. So since we're going to be focusing on just the chapters related to being a great player, being a great player is really sectioned into 5 areas. There's the player basics, there's creating your characters or playing your characters, there's being everyone's favorite character, and then of course your character arcs and bonds. So I thought we'd kind of just take it high level and kind of just explore the aspect of how to play a great player, and then we can explore some of the more finer points as we go through this. And so I guess my first question is to you guys is, what do you think the reader is supposed to get from this chapter, and what benefit do you think they have from reading this? Brent, what do you think?
I mean, I think, what do they get out of it? They get some good ideas on how to make a character and generate a character, how to help the GM by playing the character, like facilitating narrative additions and stuff like that. I think those are good things that were in this chapter regarding playing a character and making a character.
Okay. And Jeff, what about you? What do you think that somebody that's reading this chapter, what kind of stuff do you think that they were hoping that you'd get from this?
I mean, the section covers everything, across multiple chapters, but really a lot of just role-playing game etiquette, being aware of what's going on around you, how to be a good table presence, I guess, game partner. I don't know,
positive presence around the table.
Yeah, positive presence. There, thank you. That's good. I think that most people know that stuff, but we've all been late to game sessions. We've all shown up with food just for us that we had to eat, or maybe it's just me. Okay, I'll call out me. I have shown up late. I have shown up, because I didn't get dinner and I'm trying to eat. You know what I mean? And delaying the start of the game for a little bit. And those don't make for a positive player experience for everybody. They really don't. But a lot of it's stuff that I think we've heard, but I don't think it hurts to have a refresher. I have some objections for how the material was presented, but I didn't have a lot of objections about the material itself. The stuff that Brent talked about, how to actually write a backstory that doesn't just turn you into an edgelord, but turns you into a future plot hook device. That's great. There was I thought there was actionable things that most players could take out of it. The problem is that for some people, it's not a lot of actionable stuff.
I liked the part where it said your character is your responsibility, so making some things up are your responsibility. Like, what was it? I don't know. It was about a merchant or something that in town, and it was your responsibility to kind of make up who that person was and how they were in your life. I think that those are all good suggestions.
Yeah,
for somebody, especially for somebody who's on the newer side of playing games.
Yeah, and with the rise of the narrative games, where that's actually part of the rules structure, like it's something a lot of players, myself included, balk at. Right? It's like, what you want me to what? You want me to participate outside of rolling a few dice? How dare you? But when it's a shared narrative experience, sometimes you do need to contribute some stuff. It shouldn't all fall on the GM and make them have to work 25 hours between game sessions, coming up with stuff and plotting stuff out. And
well, that's true. I think the one thing that I thought was kind of an interesting tone that you get from this is that if you read this book, it really kind of it doesn't let the player off the hook, I guess, is the way I would look at it, because there is an element that when you look at RPGs and being introduced to RPGs and what that means, it basically says like, okay, well, when you go and you find a role playing group, there's going to be somebody that's running the game, and they're going to be responsible for everything. And that's, I think that perspective exists. And there are some people that just want to show up with some dice and a character at a table and then play. And that's fine. But since this book is about, your best game ever, it's basically saying that, the onus is on you to help collaborate a lot more. And I think that kind of advice is good for players to hear, that, it's like, as with any hobby, the more you put in, the more you interrogate the setting, the more you investigate what's going on, the more you connect your character to the plot and everything like that, the more intriguing and interesting it's going to be. And I don't know if players recognize that sometimes you have to do that, or else the gaming session could be a little bit boring. It's like when you see those joke videos where it's like, so you gave me a piece of paper 1 minute before the session, and it said orphan. That's your entire backstory and connection to our space game. You're an orphan in space. Well, what am I supposed to do with that?
Newsflash: we were never going to see your family anyhow.
Yeah, that's not that bad. That's not that bad.
Oh, there's worse, Brent. Go for it.
Well, I think people writing too much backstory where their character is the ultimate badass is worse than not having enough backstory. I think the other end of that scale is much harder for me to deal with than lack of backstory.
Because I think a lot of the ones that I've read that are lengthy, I've never written a huge long backstory, but I have had some GMs go, you have to read this, and it's like there's almost nothing to work with. Like they were the perfect child in the perfect family with the perfect background, with no enemies and nobody disliked them, and the angels sang whenever they walked through the woods.
Or there's a hyper competent character that has 1 million enemies and is only level 1. Like I think there's more like
they're all jealous of me, Brent.
Expectations of your character are a thing. At least if the guy is orphan on a piece of paper, you're like, oh, I can probably do anything to this character and it'll be okay.
Well, but more of the point was like, why haven't you tied anything from my backstory into this? Because there is no backstory.
I don't think that player is ever going to ask that question.
That's fine. That's fine.
No, that player's never
more likely to say, well, why is that happening to my character? And then you say, well, because you don't have a backstory, I'm making one on the fly.
Emergent.
That's where you send them a past due bill for their orphanage fees.
Yeah, emergent gameplay.
Nobody paid.
Yeah. Emergent storytelling. Exactly.
Yeah, this is where the cyberpunk part of the corporate reality. Hey, you still owe money for that time that we supported you in life.
Yeah.
That kind of, we've been watching that new Alien movie or that TV show, and I love how they portray the corporations as just perfectly in that.
Well, Aliens is one of where we got some of that.
Yeah.
That idea.
We'll talk off air, but I heard somebody say that episode 5 was the best Aliens movie ever. Episode 5 of the TV series.
It's a good show.
Yeah, it was good. Honestly, the show has been surprising me these last 2 episodes. So no spoilers. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it, but watch Alien Earth. It's good so far.
Good show.
So let's break down the different parts a little bit more and kind of dive into it, because the first thing is that I don't know what you guys are laughing about.
I was shaking my head. I was like,
No, he was
I was like,
denying.
I don't need to get super granular on this book. I have some high-arching thoughts.
He's denying.
Go ahead. No,
Well, I was just
go
going to
ahead.
say
I'm giving you.
because it has in each one, it has kind of some really, I think, key concepts that I think would be good to call out. I don't want to go like section by section because truthfully, if I was to give one critique up front, and maybe we can save any major critiques for the end, is that the book is written in a very flat textbook like tone.
It's a textbook,
and in this is where, if I'm like saying that if anybody wants to read this, I don't feel like I got excited to be a player reading the stuff.
I think that's fair. I think I maybe liked it a little bit better than the two of you, but we'll save all that. But that's totally fair.
Yeah,
that's totally fair.
So, and I mean, we can talk about this a little bit more at the end, but I feel like a book about role playing should be a book about generating, inspiring, and all that kind of stuff. But rather than that, it seems definitionally, like where it was focused on, well, creativity is this, and like, and I was like, okay, so because
we're definitely talking about this now. But yeah, it was very much written like a textbook. That's how I felt.
RPGs for Dummies?
Kind of.
Is that the name of the textbook?
Kind of. Like it was very directional. And I think one of the things that I struggle with, and I mentioned this to Mike when we talked about this book before, is I feel like it struggles to define who it's for. Because like I don't see anybody who's like, I want to play role-playing games. I don't see them going, I'm going to grab this book. And I don't see anybody who's really experienced picking up this book and reading it and being like, there's some good ideas, but they're all hidden in, I just feel it could have been edited. It could have been much tighter. I think there's a lot in it that gets hidden because there's just so many words before the good idea comes out. And it just makes it hard. Like the essays were good. I did like the essays. Some of them were a little heavy-handed, I think. But they were good, and some of the ideas are really good. Like there's a few things that I really enjoyed. I liked his suggestions of like backstories, like character prompts. Like I think that was a good idea for the book. Like actually putting in, these are some ideas for characters that you could play. I think that's a good idea for new players. But I just don't know who. I struggle with knowing who's going to buy this book, just because I don't think anybody knew who probably would gain the most benefit from reading this. I don't think anybody's going to ever be like, I'm going to go pick up this book, because I don't think it's just not.
There's two problems that you run into since we're going on this part a little bit right now. The second problem is that the price. I feel like, what was the price of the physical copy of this?
$55 for the hardcover, and that's all that's on Monty Python's website. That's all that is on Monty Cook's website. It's $55. It's currently out of stock. It's $55 for the hardcover, $24 for the audiobook, and I think it was like $20 or something for the PDF too.
Yeah, the audiobook was on sale for like 17 something, but I bought it. I had a credit on Audible, so I used it.
We all used the credit on Audible. We all did that. But on his website, he sells an audiobook as well, and I think it's $24. And then it's
20.
It's 55. Yeah, it's 20. I think it's $24. No, it's $24 for the PDF. It was $55 for the hardback, and then almost $60 for the hardback and PDF. And then the audiobook was like $20, $19.99 or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't know the book was that much. I didn't look into it.
It's probably a nice hardcover book, but
no, I'm sure it is. But if you told me that this was written originally as a series of like blog posts, like where there was semi-bloated beginnings and endings to each one, because the book desperately needed an editor. There's information in there, but I shouldn't have to swim through 1,000 words to get 100 words worth of information.
It should just be tighter, I think. Opinion.
The whole thing needed to be tighter. But
in my non-professional opinion,
I don't think they could have published it. Is the book format like a role-playing book? Like is it like an oversized hardcover?
I think it
like
is. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I mean, I
haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it. Don't know. I suspect it's like whatever it's landscape mode instead of whatever portrait mode, whatever they do with that.
But it's oversized. Its dimension are oversized like a role playing book. I'm pretty sure because I'm pretty sure it was printed by the same company.
Yeah, I think they were trying to hit a page count. Yeah, it's kind of how it feels.
Yeah,
it's a little bloated.
So I have a counter to that. I think the information is well written, and I feel like the ideas seem like they could be a blog post. I do feel like it's a little monotonous just to read through the different parts and everything. Because like I said, like if you read this, it doesn't really like I didn't feel like all the sections grabbed me, so some sections felt more sloggy than others. And that could just be that as an experienced person, I didn't get much from those sections.
I hate to break that to you, Mike, but that means it's not very well written. If you did not, if you weren't grabbed, well, yeah, textbooks are. I mean, it's a textbook. Yeah, it's not interesting, which means it's not very well written.
But I mean, it's well written for a textbook, and I think that if the premise was you know what I'm saying, it's grammatically correct. But
okay, yes, I agree with you. It was grammatically well written.
But I didn't have any issues with the punctuation, Mike. So.
But if the idea is to have a foundational kind of like this is the hobby of role playing in one book, I just wonder if the reach, the vision exceeded the reach in terms of being able to deliver on that. I mean, that's what I would say. But I mean, we kind of jumped to the critique section a little early, but I think that in fairness, though, as we said, there are good things in here, even in the player section.
Yes,
that, when you get to them, they're really quite helpful to people. And even as experienced, having been playing games a long time, there's obviously stuff in here. But I feel like the price that like you could buy a role playing book, or you
could buy a whole role play. You could buy and I think that's one of the things that I would say is like most people who are like, I want to play a role playing game. The first thing they're going to do is pick up a book, probably D&D. They're probably going to go pick D&D up, and they're probably going to learn just as much from the sections of that if they read it, because a lot of that stuff goes into the player's guide. Some of the suggestions were good, and I guess that's the thing, is it was written. I think that's it. It was written in a vacuum. Like, this is the only book that you're going to have to read this on. Like, there's no other references to any of this stuff. That's how I feel like it was written. I feel like it was written like, this is the book you're going to pick up, and it's the only one you're going to read beyond the gaming book. So we need to put everything in here that you're ever going to need. And I think that's a problem.
It wanted to be a one-stop shop, but
and it needed to be self-aware enough. Which it is in parts, which is also weird, because like at one point in the book it says go listen to actual plays to learn how to play, like to help you learn how to play. So it seems like to be aware of that, but it seems to be unaware of that at the same time, where it's like, I'm gonna put things in here that I don't need to put in here because, like you said, maybe it was page count. I don't know, but it's very wordy in my opinion.
I think it was the idea that they wanted that to be a one-stop shop. I think you're right there. And that's hard, because I think that, all these elements, there's a lot of this, and it at the 250 pages, if you buy the book, it's a fairly good size. And I mean, if you look at the audiobook is what, 16 hours, 15
16 hours. It's 15 and
so
change.
It's a pretty big investment. And if you want to be better, the question is will you be better after reading this? And the answer is you could be better in parts. And I think that if you...
there's definitely parts.
And I think one of the other problems is we're comparing it to the other books that we've read. At least I am. Mm-hmm. And those books definitely had things in it that I felt more strongly would influence how I do things. Whereas this one had bits and pieces that you really had to look for, in my opinion.
Okay. So switching gears from the critique section, let's go to the bits and pieces that we feel people would benefit from. So after you read this player facing section, what things do you feel they would benefit from the most? Brent, what was one of the standout key items that was there?
You better bring me goddamn snacks if you're a player. No, I'm kidding. No, I think
actually they did talk about bringing snacks for everyone.
They did.
I did not hate that idea. I didn't hate it.
No, I like I said, the examples for players I think are good, because I think anytime that you're trying to help someone understand what they need is that's what you really need. Is you really need examples. So saying these are some ideas of character backgrounds that you could do. I think that was great to get inspiration from. I think some of their advice for looking for extended things, like not many books these days that I've read, of the ones that we've said, they've said go out and look at an actual play. Like go out and listen to an actual play and learn. That's a good place to start learning how to do the game. Not many books call that out, and I think that was a brilliant idea. I like how we used the term earlier, but how he talks a little bit about emergent gameplay as you as the player, and he kind of hints at that. He kind of hints at don't make overwrought your backstory, because you want things to be emergent as you're playing the character. You just don't want to have a fully fleshed out idea who this character is, because at the table is really where the character's really going to come from, is your interactions with the players. Like, because you might have an idea who they are, but first contact with the other players, your character's attitude will change.
You don't learn until you've been through some stuff with the group, and there's been some ups and downs. Sorry, go ahead, keep going, Brent.
I think those are the main things that I think. It made me think of something that I read recently on a different website, where they said if you're going to write a backstory for your character, don't write events. They said write vignettes. Write, this is going on with my character, and this is what my character did, to get in that character's mindset if you're going to write a backstory, instead of just saying, when he was 12 his parents died and I went to an orphanage. Just say his parents died, this is how he felt, this is how he reacted as he was shackled and moved into the orphanage.
So I can't keep reusing killed him a bar when he was only 3. I got to stop using that.
That's how orphanages work, right? They shackle you and take you. And yes, you can. You just want to react. You just want to work through those feelings as you're talking about
more insight into the actual character and not the physical accomplishment.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing, I think, to build on that thing you said, Brent, was that the backstories that he suggested is not focusing on stuff that was way long ago, but focusing on what just happened to your character. Like that's also very helpful, because you're not divorcing your character from these weird, like, just, kind of like, oh, this is a backstory point, and it's way over here because when he was 4, he happened to be taken away from his village, and you're like, all right, does he care if he was taken away from his village?
No, well, and especially when you're low level, right? When you're in the first 2 or 3 levels, and you go to a new town, and there's somebody that's heard of you, it's going to be because of something recent. It's not going to. Nobody's going to care about the legend of the monstrously strong 2-year-old.
I disagree. I would care, especially when we're playing our Call of Cthulhu game, Jeff.
I will. Okay, we'll do Call of Cthulhu. I will be Bam Bam Rubble.
Cult investigator, Bam Bam Rubble.
I actually pulled. I thought the creating characters and playing your character stuff, I like Brent touched on, I think, the highlights, but I think there was stuff in there for everyone. The talking about how to create the backstory, the different things that you need to do when you're creating your character, and the things that you need to think about a little bit. It's not just physically writing things down on a piece of paper.
Yeah. I also really did like the essay on make the dumb choice. That's not what they said, but that is what
that was essentially
essentially don't always make the ultimate choice, the optimal choice. Make the interesting choice.
Yeah,
especially in correlation to the story, where you are in the story. Like, decide if you want to take a side quest, or you want to stay on the main quest. Like, choose the interesting option. Which I've always summed up as something that I heard on a podcast once, which was be the guy that drinks the potion. Like, if you find the strange potion in the dungeon, be the guy that's just like, I'll try it.
We're not going to know what it is if we leave it in the bottle.
That's right. And I've always kind of aspired to that a little bit. To like, just sometimes you just need to make the interesting choice.
Yeah, although I feel like that some games don't allow for that. And this is not to rag on OSR a little bit, but some of the adventures that I've read for some OSR things is like, oh, you just went in the door and you did not instantly vaporized. What's your next character?
That's true. It does depend on the game a little bit. That's correct.
You have to play within the system.
I'll drink from the fountain. Well, the fountain's filled with brackish black water. Oh, it's a black jelly and my face melted off? Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that was dumb. Well,
Do you think
it was
I would have
interesting
noticed
though.
that before sticking my face into it? No.
Yeah,
Nope.
although I don't know if drinking from the fountain is an interesting choice. Like it's a basic choice.
In the specific instance that that I'm in, it was the most interesting choice because
Okay.
it was the like golden fountain that was the only thing in the room sort of situation where it's
Okay.
well, we have to interact with it. What do we need to do?
Yeah, I remember something similar from one of the early Shadow Dark replays that I watched. Where whatever adventure they were doing, like they stopped and there was this fountain and somebody drank from it, and the fountain was poisoned.
Right.
Of course.
It's a common OSR thing. Like I said, this was a totally different game that I was playing that happened in.
You look at the fountain. Well, does it look normal? Yeah, it looks very normal. The water is crystal clear. Yeah, it's probably spring water.
Yeah. Except mine, I don't think I actually drank it from it in that game because it was black and gross, but I do think I got too close, and that was when the black jelly jumped on me.
Okay, that's fair. No, that's fair. There were nuggets. Like there were. What did you like, Mike, for the most from the player section?
Well, I think that a positive is that it explored some areas just kind of about the social conventions about gaming. Like the first thing that is a really tough thing about games and stuff, and this is in some games that we've had, like I know that when we read Fabula Ultima, it was like, well, you don't want to have a certain group type because we want everyone to share the spotlight. We want everybody to have a chance to have fun and play the game that they want to play. And what that means is that you have to kind of get out of that whole main character syndrome a little bit. And you have to be willing to let somebody else have the fun or help them have fun, basically help them achieve the thing that's really cool with their character and all that stuff. And I thought that when you got into like chapter 6 and them explaining some of those conventions about like, how to do that and how to be curious, when you get into this, ask questions, if you've got a GM that is like, set up a game. And I mean, there are some GMs that have homebrewed entire solar systems, obviously, depending on the genre of game. And, the best thing you can do for that GM is to be curious about their setting and see how it works and kind of investigate it. Because the last thing that you don't want to like not do it. And yes, it is.
This is Mike lecturing us without lecturing us, Jeff.
I don't create systems. I'm just saying if you happen to create a system.
Oh, you have great backstories and lore before that we completely ignored, though. I know that's happened.
No,
sorry, Mike.
That's not true at all.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we have definitely blown through some stop signs.
Yeah. How do we get to the dragon?
I'm not lecturing you because I don't think that's helpful, but it is good advice for a new player.
Brett, we'll just ask the Church of the Dragon Worshiper people. They'll know where the dragon is.
Don't make this about me.
Church. Where did the church come from? He just described it 10 minutes ago. Oh, yeah.
There was a church?
Oh, we should go to the church then.
Was this in the was it in this section?
Was this in the syllabus? I don't remember seeing it in the syllabus. I don't think I can be tested on it if it wasn't in the syllabus.
I feel a little appropriately guilty, Mike. That's all I'm saying.
We've both done that. Yeah, no, it's happened.
So, okay, I'm just saying. Okay, well that was not an intentional dig at you guys, especially since we just read that one book about how the person generated entire vast solar systems. That's more what I was referencing. But sure, I'm sure you guys have done in some adventure not asked a question, and I was just waiting for you to ask a question, but I obviously don't.
I get a lore dump. No, we're not going there.
Well, and when you lore dump, you only get to lore dump 3 things. That's really it's tall, it's made of gold, and it's behind a cage.
Oh, you're gone. Oh, you left already.
Shit. Just fucking smoke bomb there. Wile E. Coyote. Screw you guys. But the other thing I really liked, moving on, because I did like the arcs, and I think that the chapter really shined the best when they were getting to the meat and potatoes of it. Like I felt like some of the stuff was a little bit thin, especially on like actual examples and kind of getting into the like. Because I would have been okay with this book being more pages if they would have dove in a little deeper on some of the topics, and they were meaningfully deep, right?
Yeah, some of the examples, like it was just the example, and then it was next example, and then next example.
It should have been less pages and focused on those things.
Well, I mean, but if you were going to write like a foundational text to role playing, I would have been okay with a 400-page book if it would have been well explained and interesting. But I felt like the most interesting part when I got to the character arcs and bonds, I know you mentioned that a little bit earlier, but I like how it described how, even though it was simplistic, it was like, okay, well, I'm going to give you a multitude of arcs that you can think about for your character. I'm not necessarily sure I liked the way they were describing, like, and you should work with the DM to get some sort of benefit from this outside of storytelling, like a +1. I was like,
well, that's a D&D mindset. But I mean, those were good. That was one thing that I really liked, because as a new player, one of the things that people struggle with is making up a backstory. I've never made up another person before. What are ways that I can do that?
But with like the arcs, or just knowing a trajectory of where your character should go, you kind of just show up and you're like, DM, what should I do? Because that whole like the idea. Well, if you show up to a game, you're like, oh, you're playing a role playing game, and you can do anything, and you just stand there paralyzed because you're like, yeah. Although I did have to laugh though, because one of the arcs was start a business. I was like, Brent.
Yeah, I was like, no, don't. That's a different role playing. Now, if you're playing Business Simulator, then perfect. Start a business.
A character that's appropriate for the story that's being told. I believe he said that. I believe he did say that in the book.
Yeah, but
don't make a space ranger in your dungeon crawling game.
Yeah,
it's not going to work out right.
But I was surprised. I think there were like 30 different arcs or something like that. I didn't count.
Oh, no, there was a lot.
There was like a ton of ideas. And I mean, I think naturally you tend to play a few of those arcs normally. Like your character is explorer, your character is this, but some of them was like,
there's stereotypes you're going to hit.
Exactly. Yeah. But then some of them were more finite. Like you want to join an organization, be like, oh, well, that could be kind of interesting. My character's always aspired to join the Harpers or something. So that gives you at least a idea of how to play that character, that since I want to be a Harper, I'm going to behave like Harpers. I'm going to research Harpers wherever we go. And it's going to give me something to role play outside of just, is there a goblin to murder that owns a bakery?
That reminded me, one of the other things that I like, and I like any book that suggests this, is just like when he's just like steal from movies and things. He didn't say it that way, but that's basically what he said. He's like, draw inspiration from things that you enjoy. Go out, if you like a character in a movie and they fit the setting, like go ahead and draw inspiration from that character. Like I like that being permissive, because I think people sometimes think that that's not a good idea, but like it's the best idea.
Well, but I think there's a part of it. It's just like, because I think, and this is where it's kind of gets a little bit judgy in the role playing space, is that people want to be seen as original and creative. And there's a lot of stuff that's already been put out into the ether. So like, I think what people are, and this might be just my own thing of it, is just like, when you see your backstory, they're like, oh, you just want to play a Dritz character. Well, no, I mean, maybe kind of, but not really. I want to be my own person, but maybe inspired by,
well, that's the thing, is like inspiration is different than a direct, like your spin on it is definitely a better than just a blatant ripoff. But
yeah,
and I think that's the point that he was making, is draw inspiration from other characters.
Take a little bit of Dritz and a little bit of C-3PO.
Hey, I liked the list of things that they came up with, because there was like because there was one that was just like, you should be Frodo Ripley, and I was like,
Frodo Ripley, that's a good one too. Bam Bam Cult Investigator.
Yes.
No,
we call him Fripley.
I'm a jovial person that's a survivor.
Yeah,
exactly. See, you can be both.
Yeah. So So I do like that idea, and I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean you're one or the other, but you're trying to take aspects of either, and you can create something new that's unique that you haven't seen before. But that was pretty funny.
Scarface and Barney.
Scarney?
Scarney.
Would that be like say hello to my little friends? You know?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, that's fantastic. I think that's a Shadowrun character, basically. But yeah.
Yeah, the Shadowrun character is more Mad Hatter and Barney.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, okay. So I guess now that we've gotten to this point, I'm just kind of lost. Like,
that was a masterful segue. Well, we're here now.
We're here at the end of the cul-de-sac.
That's what everybody's here for. Masterful segues into the next subject. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, so is there any other things that you felt you wanted to talk about? Because I mean, we already put our critique a little front loaded in the beginning there, but I mean, it was there. Honestly,
I'm gonna say this. If you get a chance to read it and you don't have to pay $55 for the regular book, I think that you'll find stuff in there that you can use beyond just wear deodorant and don't be a dick. Like, even though
the basics,
both of those are called out, the basics, right? Those are some of the basics.
Be an adult human being and take care of yourself and the people around you.
Yeah. No, I think there definitely is. And I know we're focusing on the player part, but the GM part has some really good stuff. The fourth section, the fourth, getting the most out of RPGs, has some stuff. There are things that you'll get out of it. I hesitate to say whether you get $55 worth of value out of the thing, unless the book looks really good in your bookshelf, and then you do you.
It might look really great. I mean, Monte Cook stuff does look good, you know.
Like, I just. But
you can see the cover in our thumbnail if you like that.
Yeah,
you would like the book. How the book looks.
When you go to read it, don't be afraid to skim. Like, if there's a part that's not working for you, move on to the next page.
That's what I was gonna say. Is cherry pick what you want to read in the book. Like, if you read through the index and you think a part is interesting, read that part. Listen to that part. You don't need to read this in total. The essays, I think the essays are really interesting and a fun read. But
the essays are one of the best parts of the book, front to in all the sections. Yeah,
parts of the book are a little wordy, and especially if you're in experience with role playing, I don't think you need to read everything. Like, the description of what a role playing game is, you probably know that. If you picked up the book, you probably know that. So,
okay.
Yeah, I think overall there were some good things in it, and at one point I was surprised when I was pleasantly surprised because I did listen to the first 2 chapters and then stopped at the players section, and the first couple chapters was like,
if you've played it all, you can skip section 1.
Yeah, it's like, I know this, and so when some of the good stuff started coming up in the players section, I was pleasantly surprised because I didn't know what I was going to get out of the book. So when emergent gameplay ideas and stuff like that came up, I think that was all really good. So
good. So with that being said, there's definitely have some wins in this and some areas. You know, it's not the perfect tome, in maybe our opinion, but maybe it has something for everybody. I don't really have anything else I think to add, so I think we can go ahead and call that there. But if anybody wants us to maybe give our thoughts on the other parts of the book, maybe the game master or the getting the most out of the RPG sections,
or the recipes, you want us to test them out and see if they taste any good, we can try any of those too. We will make Mike make them and eat them on a recording or stream for everyone if they're interested in the recipes.
You know, I don't know if I'm not as whatever animated as those other people you see on YouTube that they take a bite out of something and then they
we'll do multiple takes. We'll do multiple takes. We'll do
multiple takes.
We'll make you do it over and over again until you really hate what you're eating.
Sounds
like that one movie person that I read about, that they were they had to eat a hard-boiled egg in the scene, and they did it something 57 times.
Wasn't that in Cool Hand Luke?
Yeah, it was something like that, and they're I couldn't eat hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, I don't think for the rest of your life. I don't think you could.
Like I just kept eating hard-boiled eggs every take.
Take after
And one
take.
guy said, "Why are you actually eating that?"
It's the
Yeah.
scene, man. It's the scene. But yeah, so if you want us to look more into this book, dive into deeper parts, or you have specific things, or you want to share what you learned from reading this book because you happen to pick it up, you either picked it up on the Kickstarter, which I think it was cheaper for the Kickstarter than it is for the
And it was a while
regular
ago.
retail.
I think it was quite a while ago.
It was like 2018 or something. So that's
Yeah.
7 years now.
Yeah, and
Forever.
since then,
That's
since
forever.
then, inflation has gone crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have your own comments, let us know. Do you find us off base? Do you find us accurate? Comment. We love reading them and
Do you have
responding.
recipes that you use for your game night?
Yeah, like
Throw 'em
what
in
do
the
you use
comments.
for your- Yeah, I'll try 'em. I'll be not able to bring them to the table because they're up in a different state, but I'll eat them myself. I made these for us.
I made these for us. Oh, that would be the best.
You guys just have to drop by. There's some for you. There's a bowl for Brent.
I
a
made
bowl
these
for
for us.
Jeff.
I could just picture that in my head. I made these for us. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm for it.
I like the part that it's like I made them for us. Like that's the extra tone deaf part for us.
For us.
And it's all like happy. Oh, I think it's delicious.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
It's like when you
So-
surprise your wife, like, honey, I got us tickets on the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
You know, if
thing you hate?
she's a sports fan,
That
it's
thing
great.
you
If
hate?
she's not
I got
a
us
sports fan,
tickets to it. Yeah.
that wasn't an us thing. That was a you thing.
I got you.
That was a me
I got you this
purchase.
Christmas gift of going to the 50-yard line.
Yeah. You know that thing you
Yeah.
hate? I committed you to going with me.
4.5 hours. NFL football. Let's go.
Oh, but if you
It's
don't
gonna
wanna
be
go,
great.
I can take somebody else too. Yeah. Okay. So if they want to get in touch with us outside of the comment section, Jeff, how do they do that?
They search for @Rollwise. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, and Twitter. Or you can email us. We are rollwiseguys@gmail.com.
As always, thank you for being here. We hope you made it this far, and we hope you liked some of the things that we said as we were talking into the camera. As always, roll well, roll wise, and be safe out there.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.